Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic and amazing day. We're going to take another look here at Luna, which is a weird thing to say after covering Terra Classic for so long, but I got a lot of requests for this one too, kind of trying to figure out if it's back on track or not. So that's the whole point of this, to help us understand if the technicals are going to be able to sustain the price action at this point or higher. Because again, this is more likely than not a fundamental catalyst, with the Binance burn being kind of announced this morning. So we want to kind of take a look at that and see what's going on. So I do appreciate the request, and obviously, if you're not currently a community member, consider becoming just an awesome part of our lives. In other words, we have some esteemed traders. We're all making tons of profit. Actually, lately it's been really awesome. In fact, let me just go ahead and share this with you. We got these, when it comes to, let's see, we got 20%, 13%, 41, 49, 13.56%. Really proud of this one. This is Amirsh, his very first leverage trade to the downside. Basically, his very first short he's ever opened, and he just did that here recently. So a lot of really cool stuff going on. We can see some really awesome gains here, and these are just community members here, all sharing their success, learning from my university. So definitely check that out in your own time. Again, cryptocash.tech is a website where you can register. Link in the description below. I offer a signals community and university, of course, and I technically send out signals as well, and that's another area of profit for us. So it's really cool experience. Be sure to check that out when you can. So here's the thing with Luna. First of all, obviously it's been on the struggle bus recently. It's following a similar pattern, not the same, don't get me wrong, because it retraced a lot harder, but it is a similar pattern to Terra Classic in the sense that it had decreased in value quite significantly after it went parabolic. The difference is that Terra Classic had more of a healthy increase versus Luna here just went up a significant percent in only 2 trading days. Actually, that's 1 trading day, come to think of it. And that's what, 305% in 1 trading day. That is way too much growth in 1 day. So this retracement makes perfect sense. You can't expect something to continue to shoot upwards when it's done that much growth in 1 day. Even 50% in 1 day is a lot to handle, to be able to sustain, right? It needs to be backed up by volume. This has volume, but as you can see, the volume has dissipated over the months, or sorry, days rather. It's less than a month. So that being said, volume is back on track, and so is the price. Big surprise. And keep in mind too, look at this support level here. Based on Fibonacci retracement, essentially today's low, you can see that today's low wicked all the way down to the most recent high. In other words, it capped out here right at the range of what, $2.05, 206, somewhere in that range. Let's just say $2 even. I think it's more like 201. But right at $2, you can see the price action was having difficulty passing that point for a few days. It's probably a lot easier to see it this way here, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and then on the 6th day, it went parabolic, right? So in that sense, that's going to work as a key level support. So it'd be probably pretty safe to presume that $2, as a very close round approximate number, is the bottom for Luna, okay? That's the tentative idea. But generally speaking, it could possibly get worse, but at this point, that definitely looks like we're going to see that as a solid foundation. One thing we're not out of the woods yet is because we're still under 50 on the RSI, and we can see the price action is kind of stuck there at 50, which is right around the $2.72 range. So that could be a little key resistance level. We can kind of see here, if we see previously, the few days it had trouble passing that level, and we could very well see that be as resistance right now. Because again, RSI has a tendency of working as a resistance right at 50 if you're below, and of course support if you're above. So taking a look, of course, at the MACD. It's not really all that fantastic, but the thing that I do like to see is that it's starting to dissipate. So that momentum to the downside is starting to lose itself, and in turn, we could very well see that shift in momentum. Once again, we need to get we need a closure above, just say 270, 290. I'd prefer like a $3.25 closure or higher in the relative near future. I wouldn't expect that to happen today, but in the coming days, we can get a closure above that. That would be a much better situation for us. But for right now, we're kind of on the right on the edge, you could say. And let's see if we can kind of pull this up here with the moving averages. They get a little funny when you have parabolic behavior, but you can kind of see here that we're above the 50 and below the 20. Very similar behavior again to Terra Classic, just because of the way that it shot up and it slowly bled out in the last couple of weeks. Okay, so pretty standard stuff there in that regard. Let's take a look at the 4-hour. We are now closed above the 200-day set moving average. That's a very positive sign. When it comes to the RSI, though, we're up over 50. And doing quite well. So in this case, we're not overextended, but we're also not too far out of the range, right? So in other words, we have more room for growth without potential of the price action turning right back around because it was overextended. Because again, this increase here is a nice comfortable one. And I say comfortable because, again, 43% is kind of a lot in one trading day, but it's not that much compared to the fact that we're seeing the amount of volume to back that up. Furthermore, too, another thing to recognize also is, let's see here, if we take a look at the 1 hour, we can kind of see how this progressed. In other words, I want us to take a look at TD sequential and see. We can see we're getting bled out here. We hit a 9, another 9 plus extreme overtime. So Luna was having some very, very difficult times leading into the most recent news. Okay, so actually, what's kind of cool about this is that the news occurred right here at this point, right around the 2 to 3 hour range for here in the U.S. So what's kind of nice is you can see this little recover happen just before that. And then, of course, it increased. So it was starting to bounce back because it got overextended, bounced off a key level support. And then it continued, of course, based on the news for the burn for Binance. So essentially, at this point, if we see it came up to a 7, this is actually a moderately healthy increase, even though, yes, 43% in that short amount of time is too much. I'm willing to guess if we were to take a look at the volume weighted average price, we can see that it went outside of standard deviation, but has held within those range. Okay. So that's a good sign. And what this also implies too is based on the volume the last 24 hours, right here at $2.52 is a strong support level. So if the price does end up coming back down, we should expect a bounce off that level. This is a day trading tool that I use pretty consistently. Very, very beneficial, especially in traditional markets because it resets every 24 hours for pre-market and post hours. So when it comes to cryptocurrency, we have this little squeeze that happens at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every single day. Anyways, I teach all that in my trading university, of course. Be sure to check that out in your own time. But for the most part, volume weighted average price is telling us that this was a healthy continuation. While it went outside those deviation lines, it didn't close above, and that's the important thing. And then you could kind of see a very similar story here with the Bollinger Bands as well. Again, overextended here, but when it pulls back, it essentially is staying within these lines, and it's not overextending itself any further. Because it's okay to come outside these lines for a little while, but when it stays outside for too long, that's when we start to have a harder pullback, you could say. But again, we're right here at the support level here for Bollinger Band, so most everything is looking pretty decent. I wouldn't expect the price to drop anytime soon, but I also wouldn't expect it to just kind of shoot upwards. What I am expecting is this to kind of, because again, it's mirroring Terra Classic to an extent. So I would say that if Terra Classic is going to do well in the next coming days, which is anticipated, then Luna should also do well based on riding those coattails. Because again, whether we like it or not, they are similar in structure as far as the coins. I know the purpose and how they work is a lot different, but generally speaking, the idea and the concept is the same, and it's a very similar following. A lot of folks that used to invest in Luna are now investing in Terra Classic, and they have somewhat of a pairing. Okay, so again, just all feelings aside, you can see that there is a connection between these two coins. So that being said, I'm willing to speculate we're going to see a continuation to the upside for Luna because Terra Classic looks like it wants to continue to take off. That's essentially what I'm seeing here. So again, mostly good stuff. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. Last thing to summarize here with, of course, because I forgot to mention this up front, is the partnership I have with BitGet. I highly recommend you use this before November 30th. In other words, you can benefit from a lot of bonus transfer funds. In other words, you get bonus USDT when you transfer funds over and use the exchange. And I can tell you it's a fantastic exchange. Most of my community members are using it now, and we all love it because it's an option to be able to trade in the US without KYC, and you can use leverage of upwards of 125x. I never recommend that amount. Some of our folks are using somewhere in the range of 20 to 50. But me personally, 10 to 20 is my sweet spot. You want to develop a good risk tolerance, and those are things I also cover in my university, so be sure to check that out. And let me know if you have any questions, of course. All my contact information is down below in the comments. I look forward to hopefully working with you in the future, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Deeply appreciate you watching. Thanks again so much. I'll see you next one.